Budget. Finally, just a quick point. I also noted in the presentation that the government recognises that with connectivity comes significant opportunities but also risks, and just to highlight that Australia stands ready and is already supporting the government of Timor-Leste in the cyber security area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the questions. And before we proceed to the next question, just a reminder that this will be a fairly long question and answer session. Therefore, we would not only limit the session for questions, but also to comments, suggestions, or recommendations for the discussion. Thank you very much. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm Chargé d'Affaires of Vietnam. Pending the procedures to be appointed as designated ambassador to the Timor-Leste. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I've been here for 6 weeks, still in the learning process, and this conference comes at the right time that helps me learn a lot about Timor-Leste and about its strategies and plans and actions. Today I want to make some comments and suggestions focusing on ICT, and I share a lot of views expressed by our Australian colleagues. I'd like to commend the government of Timor-Leste for its clear ICT strategy and ambitious targets. Priorities are well chosen, expanding the 4G, 5G coverage to 90%, and happily Telemar is the one that is providing this service, reducing data costs, increasing internet access to 90%, operationalizing IRT, linking ICT with digital ID, payments to e-government. The strong progress already made shows strong political will and a serious understanding that ICT is no longer a technical sector, but a foundation for national development. And here I want to share Vietnam's experience. ICT has been one of the strongest drivers of growth since 1990s up to now. At the beginning, our connectivity was limited, expensive, but once we invested and invested heavily, telecom becomes a strong point of Vietnam. We invested in infrastructure and expanded competition, reducing cost, promoted digital services, and it helped transform education, business, public administration, trade, investment. It connected rural communities, supported SMEs, attracted foreign investors, and made government services faster and more transparent. For Timor-Leste, I think the key issue is affordability. If bandwidth costs remain much higher than in other ASEAN countries now, the figure is about 20 times higher, digital transformation will be slowed down. High cost affects students, farmers, small business, government services, and sectors. And therefore, I'd like to suggest 4 political directions. First, adopt a whole-of-government resolution treating ICT as a national development infrastructure like roads, ports, and electricity. Recently, Vietnam has made a strong resolution on identifying ICT as part of the science and technology as the key driver for growth. Second, mobilize blended investment because the government budget will never enough. We must mobilize the public, private, domestic, foreign, and donor resources, especially for backbone, last mile connectivity and underserved area. Third, ensure that submarine cable, as our Australian colleague has pointed out, benefits pass through the users through competition, transparent pricing, and sound regulation. And fourth, more connectivity, cybersecurity, digital ID, digital payment, and e-government should be moved together, not separately. And my first point is very simple, affordable. Connectivity is not only about the internet access, it's about opportunity, inclusion, productivity, and Timor-Leste's successful integration into ASEAN. And Vietnam stands ready to support either in terms of the practical solutions or investments or anything that the Timor-Leste government and businesses need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And there's another question. Therefore, please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'm Ambassador of Thailand. I would also like to share, with other colleagues who spoke before me to complement the presentation by the concerned ministry and also officials. For us, we would like to, suggest that maybe, not a question per se, but a suggestion that I think the renewable energy is something that Thailand can, support Timor-Leste for the wind and solar energy. But in compared to the package that we would like to know is about what kind of incentive that if our business people would like to come here, is a big part or parcel from, for example, the rules and regulation, what's going to happen for the business, what you call the double tax avoidance, business investment protection law, the visa for the if we're going to have our people coming to work here. I think, we are talking about the package that is involved with our yesterday discussion as well. You have to come up with some kind of, package for the incentive and somewhat like a fast track for, the foreign business sector that would like to come to invest either PPP or bilaterally with Timor-Leste side. And I would also like to, put it like to share with a need for your country to prioritize. I agree with the ICT, and I think the electricity here is very expensive. One of the highest price per unit that we have to pay. The business sector, when we have the delegation came to Timor-Leste, they was very surprised by the cost of these utilities. It's very difficult for the business sector to survive with this kind of cost. I think the renewable energy is something that can, support the EDTL, something that can protect the blackout that happen from time to time, which this kind of thing cause damage to the office equipment, damage to the thing that rely on the electricity. So Thailand stand ready to come to work with Timor-Leste for the renewable energy, particularly for our expertise in solar and wind energy. We invest in our neighboring country already. Timor-Leste can be one of another destination that we would like to explore. But for us, we need to have a clear understanding about what kind of incentive, what kind of thing going to happen when we come. It's very difficult if we don't have this kind of information. It's a package that you have to come up for the development partner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. 2 more hands are raised, so I guess we have to coordinate who goes first, but please go ahead.
Sorry. Thank you very much. My name is Fumi Balogun, and I'm the UN Resident Coordinator. I would like to add my voice to the excellent presentations and organization of this Tldpm. Yesterday and today it's been wonderful, and the presentations were quite great. I just wanted a question on the coordination on climate resilience infrastructure, because within the context of climate, there are lots of spaces where it occurs. So first on loss and damages accounting, when we have all of the crises around the infrastructure, how the government is accounting for it. And there's a bit of work that is being supported by UNDRR, for example. But where that is located somewhere else that is not the ministry. We also have how we link the macro infrastructure with the household infrastructure to make them climate resilient. The third one is around climate financing itself, how Timor-Leste can access climate financing for infrastructure, because there are lots of, based off the UNFCCC, Timor-Leste has a lot of opportunities to access climate financing. So how is government pulling all of the structures and the mechanisms together to have a very coordinated approach towards climate resilience infrastructure and financing. Thank you.
Please go ahead, Madam.
Thank you, MC. Bom dia, and my respect to all excellencies. Stefania Dina, ADB Country Director. First of all, thank you for a very informative and detailed presentation this morning. ADB, as you know, we are a very proud partner to be actually involved in all the different sectors that were presented this morning, from the airport to solar power, water, and electricity. I have a question on the road maintenance fund that was presented. It's a very important and fundamental aspect of making sure that the many kilometers of roads that are built in the country, of course, are sustainable, not only from a fiscal point of view, but really in terms of benefiting to people to be connected to all the services that they need, from health service, education, markets, and so on. So I'd like to understand a bit better what's the vision of how this fund will be created and maintained, if there will be also retainer contracts, because it's important also to link it to, for example, the assets inventory of all the roads, the monitoring system, as well as the climate resilience standards for roads. As we know, standards when we design roads for climate resilience are more expensive, but at the same time, in the long term, they actually reduce the cost, because when we look at how much the maintenance costs are, then we understand that the investment cost can be higher and then actually pay back in the future. So I'd like to maybe hear a little bit more from Public Works on this. Thank you. Obrigada.
Thank you very much. We have had questions from 5 people, so I suppose it will be easier to get the responses before we have more questions, if that is okay.
Many thanks for the questions. I'm trying to answer some of the questions that you have raised. But we have here also the Minister of Finance, my colleagues, Minister of Transport and Public Works. I think they have some insights that can answer your questions. And on the climate financing, I think, I hope that if the Vice Prime Minister is here, I think he will be happy to answer to a question. And for the others, about the port, I will pass to the Minister of Transport, same as on the airports. And on the presentation that we have presented, that my staff was present about the 90% of the 90% of the connectivity, especially on through the 4G and 5G. Right now we have a submarine cable already installed in Timor-Leste, but we still have some works to be done, to be completed, maybe in July or August. I think the Minister of Transport will explain you in more details. And now still we have some administration issues that we have to solve about the establishment of the CTL, Cabo Timor-Leste, the one that will manage all the submarine cable. And that's why we are still in a phase of in a trial phase. So please understand that situation. About the private sector private sector participation in the private sector participation. Our plan is very ambitious, as you mentioned, but to achieve that plan, the government will invest but I think it's not enough to go to be. Our resource is not enough to complete the target that we mentioned during the presentation. That's why I'm here. We are here to invite the public, private sector to participate. But as you mentioned, that the government should provide some incentives so we can attract more investment, more private sector investment to the country. We have experience with a Japanese company on the shipyard. We are providing infrastructure, basic infrastructure, land and everything, and also tax. And we do hope that we can finalize this special agreement very soon. And on that issue, I think Minister of Finance will explain on the issue of the tax. But yesterday, our Prime Minister already touched in that issue also. And I think we are doing all the effort to more attractive to the private sector investment. About the power, the electricity, the cost of electricity is very high in Timor-Leste. I do have some experience with investors that came here. They would like to invest in the solar panel, solar power, and when we discuss about the PPA that issue was raised, and we understand because I still using the fossil resource that we have, and that's why the investment in the renewable energy is very important. And we have the government already closed one agreement that will be installed in Manatuto, Lalea, and I think in the next 2 months we will have a signing agreement with the other for the wind power also in 2 places. I think the Minister of Public Works will explain to you in more details. One in Bobonaro, another one in Osu. So I do hope that we can have more investors especially on the renewable energy. I think that's from my side. I think the Minister of Finance you can explain or Minister of Transport. Minister of Transport and then Minister of Public Works, please.
Obrigado, thank you. To provide a better information, I prefer speaking in Teton. Therefore, please use the translation device. Excelência Ministra das Finanças, Ministro MP, colegas, membros do governo, Embaixador, Parseiru Dezenvolvimentu Sira, e convidado Sira Roto Nebe Haulabele Temi Ida Periba. A Caracahu, ho apreciação ba IDB, Zaika, ho Austrália. Tamba Sira ni apoio, financiamento para a construção e alargamento do Aeroporto Internacional Presidente Nicolau Lobato. Nessa hora, a Austrália até uma cata precisa meter em coordenação, também parte balu hahuona, nessa parte airside, nebe financia o CDB hahuona, o parallel taxiway, ba Terminal Passageiros, Tribunal das Contas, Semana Coto, Hasai ona visto e a semana de né hausi hasai notice to proceed ba toa companhia nebe maksei cair obra ba construção terminal passageiros. Parte de fato nian e ajustamento balo e hau espera katak excelência ministra das finanças e a tempo badak bele conclui ajustamento sirne para de fato bele hahu processo de tenderização ba acesso ba aeroporto internacional presidente Nicolau Lobato. Na verdade, obrigado Barak ba EDB Zaika Austrália. Se ia mesmo que hoje lá ia perguntas, mas eu espero que da Laruma orsida bel mos perguntas seluk. Também a apresentação em tema. E a tempo hanesan autoridade de aviação civil a ACTL no administração e navegação aérea de Timor-Leste e o processo de certificação para aeroporto Rua. Aeroporto Suai, não mais aeroporto Oikusi. Processo de certificação lá ela. Agora informamos que o processo concluiu na IA Sena e está atuando o estudo de viabilidade para aeroporto regional Lima, e Los Palos, Viqueque, Same, Maliana, no Atoru. Autama ba pergunta nebe oin excelência embaixador Japão hato konaba porto nem. E o programa no governo constitucional nian temi momos kata nemos liga ba plano estratégico de desenvolvimento 1130 temi momos katak o insamaka atu assegura linha costeira sir para bela rabada transportação carga ou carreta nebe caminhões nebe vot nebe dalvara contribui estrada também maka e porto nem nebe temi porto valo ne construção conclui no operacionaliza ela makanes porto Tivar porto Oikusi e da porto Dili nebe tuir programa no governo nian hanesa se sai cidade marina no mos porto ba cruzeiros mesmo que porto Dili mas ia processo atualo estudo viabilidade ba porto Atoru tamba porto existente né ia coral pesi que neba tamba não precisa estudo viabilidade para construção né atu mantém ia fatin ka muda ba fatin seluk nebe la do kusi porto existente ia mos processo ba design and build ba porto com processo em mai prepara ela termos de referência e depois se submete ba MPA a DNC verifica o apoio Japão União e ela discussão processo valo laona ba construção porto Cairabela processo internal valo laona licença ambiental mosaiona mas continua a discussão também nesse é tão grande fosse Jaika e temos halo estudo viabilidade para Porto Manatuto. Porto Sira nebe hautemine quase e a parte norte. Tato hauta estudo viabilidade para Porto Manatuto, mas a parte sul iti a Porto Beaço, Porto Valo e a parte Samenia no suai ni processo tem que ir a coordenação dia ho MPRM, Ministério Petróleo e Minas, também ligado para desenvolvimento Tassimane. nebe Porto Sira nebe o embaixador Temi, Macau Temi né, Beaço, Rosuai, Latama Banen nebe Macau o Temi. Tamba tem que ir a coordenação dia, o insama que tu constrói, não o insama que tu usa. How liga quedan ao ba conectividade. Projeto instalação na construção do cabo submarino fibra óptica conclui em setembro de 2024. Conclui. Mas processo será valulado, também processo será em lorong e se dá anúncio para ready for service, liliu para comercialização. Processo valo tem que hari companhia estatal para fazer fibra né. Maka ikusmai hari Rttl.Ep, Cabo Timor-Leste, empresa estatal. 27 de novembro de 2025, ita hahu teste, ka trial, ba serviço em São Estado Sernia. Inclui cobre toba município Sierra. Nebe hahu novembro, desculpa, hahu 27 de novembro de 2025, internet Sierra nebe usa ia em São Estado União, internet Sierra mai husi cabo submarino fibra óptica. 2025, novembro. Fevereiro 2026, ITA oferece para operadores telecomunicações Tolo, Timor Telecom, Telkomsel, Ho, Telmor, mas será halo trial. Cada operador ITA for 3 giga. A muito fornece para operadores Tolo 9 gigabits. Preparação balo lá ela, com certeza a nessa representante Husi Vietnam hatete. Conectividade né lá os de questão internet, mas ia assunto selo da segurança cibernética, nomos problema selo com a o insama ita prepara ita ne mamos atu usa tecnologia cerne. Quando vai segurança cibernética, serviço Ministério de Transporte e Comunicações, no balo ia Ministério da Justiça, liliu nebe justiça ligado para cybercrime, no proteção dados ne ia justiça, mas segurança cibernética ia MTC, Ministério de Transporte e Comunicações, coordenação, Ministro, Presidência, Conselho Ministro União, a me prepara uma proposta lei a tu submete para o Conselho Ministro União apreciação e depois lori para Parlamento Nacional, também é lei. Vietnam teme nessa hora conectividade lá os internet, date. Mas problema Timor-Leste vai ir no governo constitucional tama e tem problema vai ir qual é o governo eletrônico, vai ir qual é a digitalização, se infraestrutura nela ia ou em Samaka e também qual é a digitalização, governo eletrônico, no transformação digital. Também nemaka no governo constitucional Hahu quedan, ho instalação cabo fibra óptica. Tamba antes né problema ne internet. Ao cara explicação uituam com a baita né. Buat nebe Ministério do Transporte e Comunicações halo ne ba serviço público, ba entidade Estado, laos ba comunidade em geral. 2012 quarto governo constitucional liberaliza setor de telecomunicações, lihusi política e a quarto governo. Também a fornece internet, mobile, ba população em geral, nem cabe ba operadores telecomunicações, nomos a espície nebe maka existe itinerário. Ite serviço de acordo né. Com a cobertura 4G ou 5G, 2025 operador ida lança tia 5G, maka telmor. Mas ao atene katak nia cobertura se ia dilidate, nemos nia número nakala se itua. Ligado à cobertura os operadores né, para tu assegura cobertura para 5G ou 4G, semana rua liuba how ia reunião com operadores telecomunicação tolo. How husu basira problema nem hanebe. Siramos ia problema com a infraestruturas. Liliu torre sira nebe atu assegura cobertura internet no mobile baik ni população sira. Tamba sira labele instala ao foi em hateno sira labele instala torre e fato isolado. Tamba mos ia parte selo energia elétrica mos ia área nebe ia forleten lá ia. Tamba ia neba lá ia população. Mesmo que nessa apresentação kata ita governo agora orsida a uma colega ministro obras públicas se explica né kata aldeias outros se ia energia elétrica mas be torre sira nebe operadores tolu harine la ozia aldeia lara mas da rumi forleta nebe energia elétrica la to neba e de nesse ser problema tamba nema com ministério se heta nós se husu mos orientação husi ministro coordenador desculpa tamba daliatan Ministério de Transporte e Comunicações, além de rolar parte do setor infraestrutura, mas vemos rolar parte do setor economia. Também se há discussão na área, se há uma orientação do excelência vice-primeiro-ministro para torres irane e a nação balo, Estado macari e depois operadores ira aluga. E a nação balo, setor privado macari e depois operadores ira aluga. E buka to maneira de medir para tu assegura cobertura tanto internet no mobile vai na população sira. Naru que tuan tambah quase pergunta sira hoje de residente ba serviço nebe maka tutela iha amne ministério. Público semana rua kotuk por certo hoje loram ema preocupa ho instalação Starlink e a suco, sede suco sira e território nacional. A modo 450 sucos. Né? E a sede sucos. Tem que haluir ne dune. Tamba hoje a apresentação temos last mile. Kata fio fibra ótica né? Sei lá bato e fatin hotot. Fio fibra ótica né, sei lá to baia área remota sira. Se de suco sira nebe localizado e a área remota sira. Nebe maka fio fibra ótica ne sira labele to neba, sei continua usa satélite. E satélite nebe maka agora de down. Ia Timor, ita hatene katak ne qualidade dia maka Starlink. Pergunta bel moço, urgência que lá é? Ami ia corrida ao Ministério Estatal, com a OINSA, sede sucusira, atualiza informações ligadas à população sernia. Sernia programa nara SIGSA. E nem tem que ir lá. Também maka, atudian urgência, também maka kita instalamos fibra ótica, Starlink e a suco sernehoto. Awanin quase how cobre ona preocupações que a pergunta se era na bema o em distintos excelências embaixadores sirahato mai, mas dali datang hakara fo apresiação ba o em Altemona e devi jaika no difat Austrália e hawatu taka ho agradecimento ida ba ambasador Camboja. Dia 1 de junho mai lorong hiratan sei halo lançamento ba serviço balu iha Direção Nacional de Transporte Terrestre nebe serviço a moto ko Camboja com a digitalização e a setor transporte público a minha rua carta condução e programa ne naran e-verify nebe maka hetang assistência apoio husi Japão. Desculpa, Camboja. Obrigado, Bara.
There is one issue raised by the ADB about the road maintenance fund. I think in the presentation done by Lorenzo, it was mentioned, and we think that there is important intervention that the government should pay attention on. And how the implementation, I think we have to do more studies and do the evaluation on how the fund will be conceived. And in the coming months, we'll come out with some studies and will be discussed among us, especially in the infrastructure fund meeting. So we will decide and then present to the Council of Ministers to make a decision. I think that's all. Vice Prime Minister, maybe you have something to say on the climate financing.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, I have a question from UN coordinating or resident coordinator about climate fines. First of all, I'm sure that every one of you, every one of us agree that climate change, the climate issue is a global responsibility. It's also global issue. So to protect the resilience for climate resilience is a global responsibility, as it's included Timor-Leste. How to get access to the fund? I understand that before 9 constitutional government start 2023, there are a lot of the cooperation, coordination in between the climate department or ministry. That time was only Secretary of State who had access deeply with all the institutions, especially for UNDP and UN other institutions. Since my term, I have to tell you very honestly here, we all welcome you. We all will spend with our sincere and honest to cooperate by hand in hand to protect the climate, which is all our responsibility. Unfortunately, when I was appointed as a minister, not only for tourism, it's also for environment. I try my best to cooperate, but I have to be honest to myself and also to this country that there is a fund which I don't have to explain too deeply here. It's no good. That I think I'm going to have more coordination with UNDP and UN to see how we can create more, first, resilient and also confidence between us, and the fund, how to get access to the fund, and that the fund is transparency to spend in this country. Where does the fund come in? How to spend? And, actually, as a minister, I don't have to sign anything, but as long as I know where does the fund come in and how to spend, where are we going to spend all this fund? I have followed, I spend, and I participate few climate change, a very big meeting. Even I was in Nice for the UN meeting. But I tell you sincerely, I don't want to say too much here, but my door is open for all of you, especially UNDP and UN, to talk about that. And I think we already have appointment in between yourself and us and this government. I will try to involve all the institutions that we all care about the climate change. So how to protect the climate, how to make it more resilient for the climate. So it needs our cooperation deeply. But as a minister and also government, I can't just say, yes, you get a fund, you spend, and we don't even know where does the fund come in. And we have appointed Ambassador Asaun, who coordinates for all this. So, Asaun is here. Yeah. Down, you are the right person to respond. Where are you going to get this fund and how to spend? How transparency is this? Okay? Ambassador, you have been to all over the world. So, better you spend clearly as a family, as a friend. I'm here to support each other and make it clear. Thank you, Ambassador. Please, the time is yours.
Excellency, thank you very much. Your Excellency, Vice Prime Minister, Ministers, Ambassadors, Director Generals, partners, and colleagues, good morning. In fact, Timor-Leste is eligible to access to climate funds, not only climate funds. There is adaptation fund under the Kyoto Protocol and also under the Paris Agreement. And we also have a least developed countries fund managed by Global Environment Facility. We also have a fund for responding to loss and damage. I am part of board members. And we also have Green Climate Fund under the UN Convention on Climate Change. We call it like financial mechanism of the convention. But then the point is we have not established our own national implementing entities or entity to access the funds directly. Except for fund for responding to loss and damage, the board decided to access the fund directly through direct budget support. At the moment, we have already prepared our own proposal at the amount of $6.8 million to address real loss and damage. And our proposal is being revised by technical people from least developed countries expert group. hopefully by next week, we can sign the document and we can submit to the Secretariat. This is direct budget support. If direct budget support is not possible, and then we will have in partnership with multilateral development banks. We only have 2 multilateral development banks in Timor-Leste. First one is ADB, second one is the World Bank. But this fund is established under the World Bank. So I do see that that will be a conflict of interest if we engage the World Bank. But we will discuss about this bilaterally. At the moment, we have already received $65.3 million from Green Climate Fund. Additionally, we also have around $3 million for readiness. So for readiness, we have access directly through the National Directorate for Climate Change. That's a partner implementing entity. That's only less than 1 million. That's for readiness. It means not for the project. But in fact, we have already received that, and all the funds are going through the accredited entities, mainly UNDP and also ADB, as well as UNEP and others. CI is also applying for this. And we also received LDCF, Least Developed Countries Fund, at the amount of $42 million for different projects, capturing rural, small-scale rural infrastructure. It's upgrading roads and also small scale of irrigation and also so on and so forth. And we also have bilateral financial support. I think that's about more than $68 million from different partnering countries, and that is implemented by different agencies. One of the key example is one that we received. I think it's about almost $6 million provided by the government of Japan. So thank you very much for supporting this. And then this is more focusing on renewable energy technology. We utilize this to install solar panel roofing at the health center, I think Sames, that's close by. So that's also a very good one. And we are also having $31 million from the government of Australia. That's for agriculture, water, and so on and so forth. So it's also an ongoing project as well. And for Green Climate Fund, we got 22.7 million for rural infrastructure at a small scale level. And we also have a $21.3 million from Green Climate Fund that is being implemented by the UNEP together with the Minister of Transport and Communication, U.S. Lindsay, mentioned about that. That's for installing meteorological equipment. It's an ongoing project, and so on and so forth. So this is a project owned by the government of Timor-Leste, implemented by different agencies and entities. But we are also now leading the least developed countries around the world, 44 countries. And in fact, we are also discussing the support issues with our partner countries. One of them is Austrian government. We just visited Austria, we co-hosted donors dialogue for the LDCs, I think 2 weeks ago. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Her Excellency Vice Minister went there, and we requested the government of Austria to provide financial support for LDC strategy meeting and ministerial meeting that will be happening in Dili, Timor-Leste from the 1st to 4th September. So we just received 60 million US dollar in dollar, but 50 million euro. And just today, His Excellency Minister of Foreign Affairs will sign the letter, and we will send it to the government of Austria through, I think, their embassy in Jakarta as well, because Jakarta is also facilitating this process as well. And we also received 198,000 US dollar from the EU and also the government of Norway. And the fund is also utilizing for our 2 years work plan. One of them was happening here in Timor-Leste. The first LDC strategy meeting was here in Timor-Leste, and also handover meeting was also here. 2 meetings were conducted in Timor-Leste. So we utilized that financial resources. At the moment, we are also negotiating with Australian government. Hopefully by tomorrow, we will get more financial support for implementing our work program as LDC chair. So those are from my side, but thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Ambassador Asaun, we are very happy to hear from your report how huge their fund is. Climate change only. I count one by one, nearly $500 million. Don't say $500 million, but maybe a few $100 million. Your explanation is good, but is that start from only 2023 until now, or since the beginning, since 2002? How many years you are ambassador? Now I'm also a question you. Yeah? How many years been in like that? And the second year. Since the fund you say, I am asking for Minister of Finance, do you know anything? She said no. I am a Minister of Environment. Since I become a Minister of Environment and also Coordinator Minister, I haven't signed any cents, not even $1. So where is the money gone? Now we talk about transparency, but we cannot deny that without the support from our partner, development partner, we can't do anything. As a small developing economic growth state, we need everybody to help. Just to let you know, everyone here, I have an institution called IND. This institution I just closed, and I create a new unity. So now they work under the Mekai. That's because sometimes they have some contract, I don't even know as a minister. But I don't blame anybody. Let's work together, more transparency. Ambassador have to explain. Those hundreds of millions of dollars, is that start from the beginning of 2002 or just only 2023? We got how big money that we have this. And where is the money gone? What have you done? I can explain very clearly here. We are not here to blame one each other, but it's good to know, everyone to know. 2023, there is a fund 21 million for climate change, which is included to help estatal, public work, and agriculture. You know, the Minister Francisco who have to sign the bill for 21 million. The tourism and climate change office doesn't have 1 cent inside. I don't mind. There's no problem at all. But what I want here, I told our partners to say that more transparency. But after 1 year, the money has gone and spent already 11 million. The rest of 9 million, I wrote a letter to every ministry I wrote to them, see, if you need the money, please let me know, because I have to coordinate with the UNDP. But finally, unfortunately, the 4 ministers, they didn't say anything. And I spent 2 weeks with my team that went to all municipalities to see the reality. Yes, we have to be honest. Some projects exist, but some you don't even know. So now, can you explain to us that hundreds million, is that start from 23 or from the beginning? I'm sorry, our partner, our ambassador, this is how we are here as a family to talk with each other. The chairman of ADC, please, thank you.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for the questions. Firstly, the amount that I just mentioned a while ago is from 2007 up to date. Up to date, at least we have already received both bilateral and also multilateral at the amount of 168 millions US dollar in total for climate finance. From 2007, because we ratified the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in 2006, and coming into force in the same year, so we start receiving the fund starting from 2007. So where is money now? The money is managed by the accredited entities like UNDP, like Conservation International, and ADB. So let me inform Your Excellencies that money is accessed by the countries through agencies, accredited agencies or entities, because of fiduciary issues, because of social and environmental safeguard issues. So that's why all countries are requested to establish their own respective nationally implementing entity or entities. And the national implementing entity or entities will be assessed by international accredited entities, whether they've already fixed to the criteria, fiduciary issues or not. If not, then we will have some sort of capacity building for them. So our situation in Timor-Leste is having no nationally implementing or national implementing entity. That's why money is going through agencies. But once we establish our own national implementing entities, then we will access directly. So we have already approached BNCTL to be one of the accredited entities for Green Climate Fund, for Adaptation Fund, and also for other funds, so that they can, BNCTL, to be accredited entities. And the capacity assessment was done, I think, 2 years back, and we are going to speed up the process. So we have already discussed this issue with Central Bank as well to assist this process as well, so that by the end of the day we will have our own accredited entities that will be also eligible to receive financial support from the funds that I just mentioned, Excellency. And of course, we do see some implementation progress. Last month, we got visiting from Global Emergency Facility, and the project is Adapt, managed by the Minister of Agriculture, Fishery and Forestry, and also Livestock. One of the sites is in Sukuliurai in Ailiu, Sukuliurai village. It's a fish, actually, inland fish, and it's a very successful history. And then it was also participated by member of the government, I think Secretary of State. So that's something that we need to see. And also a focus project supported by the government of Korea. It's just somewhere in just very close to Manatutu. It's very close to Chadiung, and it's a forestry activity, so that's also a very successful one. But that's something that we need to learn from. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you for the clarification. And what I think we need to do is start from now. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Finance, yourself, Ambassador, and myself. We can't blame our partner. But for 19 years, since 2007, now we are on 2026, we can even do our home job, that you say. We have to form our own implementation boarding, whatever. But unfortunately, you have a minister, you have a secretary of state, you have IND, you have so on. But never implement that you can manage or even together transparency between the partner and ourselves. Since this is live, so we can't blame anything. We have to thank the partner. What they have done, we have to appreciate. But the rest of the discussion, we need to work as a team. Minister of Finance, Foreign Affairs, yourself and myself, and also our partner. So UN, our good partner, I think that's good enough for us until here. Australia, they have mentioned Korea, whatever. Every one of you have done so many things for this country. So we are here not to blame. Ida nemos televisão here live, or sirve down idea, ita discute, fala, tang osa neba nam lai. Ita colher transparência, neba agora, é tempo para ita rasigmos, areta ni andia, ita ateke ba, o ita mos falha botruma. Negalai? Neba ministra, how no ida nema ka, ita precisa halo correção mal. Obrigado, ministro, obrigado. Ministra, tu colher botruma, al favor.
Obrigada, Excelência Vice-Primeiro-Ministro. Thank you very much. I will try to answer a few questions from the development partners, especially on what basic loan that for infrastructure. I think during these 2 days is very constructive discussion. The government tried to lie down all our priority, and then we would like also to seek from our development partners how can we support. So going back to the question, what is the basic loan for infrastructure? I think Timor-Leste, in current our legislation on the borrowing law that we have, first we have a ceiling that approved by the parliament every year, which is put the threshold that government allowed to borrow during the every fiscal year. And then the condition that we are trying to do in our current legislation is it's basically the government of Timor-Leste only allow for the concessional loan. Okay. Those conditions that we have to observe when we are taking loan is including the ability for the government of Timor-Leste to repay without harming essential public services. So those conditions we have to observe before we are taking loan. And then the other one is used for the productive investment, not for the routine spending. That's why currently we're using for the vital infrastructure that we are taking loan for. Secondly, on the priority order, I think this today discussion, we see the priority of the government, and then we also recognize that to financing from only state budget, it should be not enough for all the priority. We are also consider the PPP, blending financing to financing for our key infrastructure. That's why this discussion, we are trying to also consider for infrastructure. I think we are also discussing about the resilience of infrastructure. Currently, under the current situation of our Timor-Leste land, I think we have also risk of the condition that are caused by the climate change, which is the landsliding, sometimes destroy or the current infrastructure that we have. So we hope that our partner in the future, when we design to financing any infrastructure project, we also consider for the infrastructure, the resilience to the climate change. That will be considered, and the infrastructure that have multi-purpose intention. So like when we build the road, we also expecting that the roads that we build also can motivate or incentive for other sectors to be developed, like tourism or agriculture. Those things are conditions that we are trying to looking forward, and then we, in the government we are trying to put system in place so we can more strengthen in terms of our coordination and to make sure that when we are talking to the partner, I think today during these 2 days we have a more broader discussion, but after this we believe that every pillar of SDP, we will call our donors to discuss more detail how we are looking the donor to support us in terms of which part that we think that technical assistance will support us, and then which part that we think that, you know, your expertise through grant that you can prepare in the better condition infrastructure to be financing both from the government budget or for the loan project. I think I would also like to also mention about the renewable energy. Yes, government, I think that the Minister of Public Works mentioned, but the government is slowly start to thinking the possibility of the Timor-Leste to moving for the fossil fuel energy to the renewable energy. So I'm really appreciate for the Australia and the others donor, including the Thailand, mentioned about your interest to support for the sustainable renewable energy. That is something that we are looking forward, so we can conclude some project that for the future we can develop together to make sure that slowly Timor-Leste can move from the fossil energy to the renewable energy and then more sustainable. And then I think we also talking about the Vietnam. I am really appreciate for the experience that share here with us, how the ICT can transform, and then also ICT can help the economic growth of the country. This is something that we also know that the priority that ICT investment, of course, those experience from the development partners, especially for the regional member of ASEAN, something that's similar to Timor-Leste, would like to see more closely how can Timor-Leste learn that experience so we can move it forward. I think that is something that I can add to what has been raised by, answered by my colleagues ministers. And then in terms of the investment package, I think Timor-Leste, in terms of the fiscal tax incentive, since 2011, we review our tax law, but we still face some difficulties in terms of attract foreign direct investment, especially for the private sector. So those conditions right now we are reviewing and then see how can Timor-Leste not left behind from other ASEAN country. How can Timor-Leste also make some incentive or package that also can give more confident to the private sector, also the foreign investor, to really come and invest in Timor-Leste, not only in terms of the legislation, but how the bureaucracy, that how can we assist our development partners, also the private sector, for them to get better information about that investment. Also, some issue that we also face here that we are trying to address, like a land title. Those issue government is working on the certain reform. We are trying to making sure that in the future, and that with help with the development partner, we count of you as well to help us. How can we design the reform that really can help Timor-Leste in terms of managing our resources to really make our development is more sustainable. In the same time, we're also trying to preserve our petroleum fund longer, and then try to make sure that our key infrastructure is being built, and then we can fulfill our development as well. Thank you very much.
Now may I ask Minister of Public Works to say something about the power, electricity, please.
Thank you very much. I think the whole question has been answered by Minister MPA and Minister of Finance, but let me use this opportunity to say thank you for our partnership who are supporting us, especially for the infrastructure. As ambassador from Australia and Thailand and ADB also raised some issues, the very important issues. And I would like to say thank you for the ambassador Australian. I think that we have funding by Australian government to make viability study for solar panel in El Tauru. Hopefully that a final report can be done soon. Then we will be launch the go to procurement process. And we hope that next month or next 2 months we will be launched in the solar panel in the Lalea for 72 megawatts soon. And thank you for the ADB and the World Bank support. And then we also have a planning to, we'll still negotiate for the land, someplace in between Los Palos and Baucau. Of course, that Lalea is not enough, the energy, but we looking for the land. We're still under negotiation. Hopefully, we can get the land for the 52 megawatts more. And the Oikusi also. Oikusi, we also looking for the land provided. And then for the wind power, it's supported by IFC. Hopefully by this year can be finished the study, viability study. Then we will rush ourselves to try the procurement process by this year. And what is raised by my good colleagues, Madam Stefania, about the maintenance road is very important issues, because we spend a lot of money. We agree that we sometimes we are not take attention seriously for the maintenance, but it's very important. Last week we also discussed with the World Bank and then ADB. We hope that we can take this. Now we are discussing under JICA team. We are also working on that to find a good system how to make a maintenance for the not for the road that loan funding by loans, but also for the government funding. So that's, I think that's one I want to say so for the old colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, for the questions and answers. Is there any other question? Please raise your hand. We'll have a second round of questions and answers before we break for lunch.
I think there is no more question. But before we go for lunch, I would like to take this opportunity first to apologize wherever we discuss. This is very important for our development partner and also ourselves as a government. We have to work more closely, more transparency, of course, and we do appreciate what you have done, every one of you. They have mentioned start from Australia, Korea, Japan, China, America, every one of you here, European Union, ASEAN, Thailand, everyone who sit here, and UN, especially ADB and also World Bank. We appreciate. The mistake is not only from one side, but we all learn from mistake. We all learn from experience. So on behalf of all of us here, would like to say our appreciation and our apology if something that just reported by the ambassador now, but there's no any blaming between us. Let's create more mechanism and also coordination in the future. Looking forward to work with you more closely as a friend, as a partner. We need one each other. This world, nobody can live alone and live behind. So with your all attention today, I would like to say on behalf of all of us here, thank you very much, and enjoy your lunch, Mr. Minister, if you allow.
Vice Prime
you
Minister,
invite for lunch or not? Now come back to Minister of Finance.
I think they're still preparing for finalization. If allow, I think probably we can make the second presentation on the social sector. So after that, when we finish the lunch and we come back, so we can come with the question and then we can finish earlier. If that possible, everyone is agreed? Okay, so can we start with the social presentation, and then after that we go for lunch.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Since that is the decision, I would like to now invite the presenters for Social Capital Development Sector. And for this sector is led by His Excellency Engineer Mariano Asanami Sabino, Vice Prime Minister, Minister Coordinator for Social Affairs, and Minister of Rural Development and Community Housing. The presentation will be done by Mr. Oldegar Masinga Suarez, Coordinator for Social Affairs, Ministry of Rural Development and Community Housing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since His Excellency Vice Prime Minister is not present, His Excellency Minister of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Nino Pereira, will represent His Excellency Vice Prime Minister for the speech before the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. His Excellency Vice Prime Minister, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Minister of Tourism and Environment, Member of 9 Constitutional Government, Excellency Ambassador, Representative of international organizations, distinguished development partners, ladies and gentlemen. As the Coordinating Ministers for Social Affairs, which oversees and coordinates 6 ministries, we bear the responsibility of conducting this regular coordination meeting with members of the government in order to update and evaluate the implementation of programs in the social sector and to address the challenges faced by the country of Timor-Leste. In addition to this role, the Office of the Coordinating Ministry for Social Affairs has conducted regular meetings with the Integrated Planning Unit under the Ministry of Planning and Strategic Investment to review the result of the implementation monitoring of the Strategic Development Plan 2011-2030. Through this process, we seek to identify where we currently stand, the challenges we are facing, what we have achieved, and to strengthen the midterm plan 2027-2030 under the 3 pillars of the social sector, education, health, and social protection in support of the goals established in the Strategic Development Plan. Excellencies and distinguished guests, after several days of technical coordination and information sharing discussions, today, on this second day, we gather together in this important and strategic forum with all our valued development partners. We stand united under the common objective to strengthen our coordination and identify priority areas in which our respective partners may engage and provide support. The government of Timor-Leste firmly believes that all development partners possess valuable practical experience gained throughout many years of cooperation with our country, particularly in the implementation of programs in the social sectors. Such experiences and lessons learned are highly valuable and may be shared through this official forum. Excellencies and distinguished guests, statistical data show that Timor-Leste continues to face serious social challenges. These include persistent malnutrition, a high rate of stunting, which stood at 47% in 2020, while our national target is to reduce this figure to below 25% by 2030. Regarding maternal mortality, in 2023, there were 143 deaths per 100,000 population, whereas our goal by 2030 is to reduce this number to below 70 per 100,000 population. In addition, many people living in remote areas continue to face challenges related to access to clean water, sanitation system, and food security. In response to these challenges faced by our country, the ninth constitutional government is committed to placing social development at the center of national priorities with a strong focus on human development across all sectors. This commitment is reflected in the following priority programs. Health sector. Through the Ministry of Health, the government continues to prioritize maternal and child health care, as well as primary health care services through the Integrated Health Program, Programa Integradu Saudi. Efforts are being made to improve healthcare services for communities in remote areas and to address communicable diseases such as tuberculosis, malaria, HIV/AIDS, and leprosy. The government also continues to strengthen services related to non-communicable diseases, including hypertension, diabetes, and mental health. In addition, the government remains committed to improving pharmaceutical management, medical equipment, and medical supply system, while continuing the construction of health infrastructure and housing for healthcare professionals. Education sector. Through the Ministry of Education, the government continues to prioritize inclusive education, curriculum reform for elementary education, particularly grade 3, and the development of national curriculum for secondary education. The government also seeks to ensure access to preschool education, including preparation programs for school readiness, while continuing to focus on the development of school infrastructure and housing for teachers. Higher education, science and culture. The Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Culture continue to focus on establishment of higher education infrastructure and the development of human capital through doctoral scholarship programs aimed to strengthening capacity development and improving the quality of lecture and teachers. The Ministry also seeks to improve the data management system for higher education in Timor-Leste. Youth, sport, art and culture. The Ministry remains committed to strengthening youth organization across various sectors, promoting civic leadership among youth, improving athletics, performance for high-level competition, encouraging community sport, and continuing the development of support infrastructure. Social solidarity and inclusions. Through the Ministry of Social Solidarity and Inclusions, the government continues to support vulnerable groups, including the elderly, through social protection programs such as Bolsa Damai. The Ministry also continues efforts to register and support people with mental health conditions and to establish and operate a 24-hour hotline service for victims of domestic violence and gender-based violence. Excellencies, as the coordinating Ministry for Social Affairs and on behalf of the government, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all development partners for their continued engagement and support to the autonomous ministries and institutions in implementing programs and strategic activities within the social sectors. My colleagues and I are here today to listen, respond, and take note of your suggestions, inputs, and new ideas. The government remains committed to strengthening coordination, integration, and cooperation with all partners while responding to the realities and needs of the people of Timor-Leste. Thank you very much. Thank you for all attention. Now I will give the floor technician from MECAS. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We shall now begin the presentation by Mr. Oldgar Masinga.
Good day, every one of us. First of all, I would like to extend my deep thanks for all of us for being here today, and for the last 2 productive and fruitful 2 days. My respect to His Excellency, Vice Prime Minister or representation. My respect to the member of government, to all respected ambassador and presentation, to diplomatic or corporations, entities present here, to all international development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I will simply bring you in this coming presentation to explore what the social sector programs, especially 6 ministries, under the 9th constitutional government is standing and where the direction we had to and what the support and the involvement we need from all development partners presented here. I will bring through this presentation into 3 main components. Firstly, what's the legal basis for the coordinating ministry for social affairs, including the vision? Following by what are the main priorities of its ministries under MECAS and the challenges we faced during the program implementation. The last, what are the support we need and request from the respected development partners presented here today from its ministries under MECAS. Thank you for their patience and giving the stage to come along with you all for this whole session. MECAS has the vision, the true wealth of any nation is the strength of its people. Maximizing the health, education, and overall quality of life of the Timorese people is essential to achieving a just and developed nation. Following by the role of coordinating minister for the social affairs, based on the resolution number 43, 2024 of the 9th Constitutional Government, Article number 3, the Interministerial Commission for the Coordination of Social Affairs is established, chaired by the Coordinating Minister for Social Affairs and composed of the following ministries, such Ministry of Social Solidarity and Inclusion, the Ministry of Veterans Affairs and National Liberation, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Culture, the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture. Here, as you can see in the slide, is that the cycle of the Coordinating Ministry for Social Affairs, as I have just mentioned previously. Now I'm bringing you to reflect the purpose. Number 1, to reflect the Strategic Development Plan 2011-2030 for social capital target progress and implication for 2027-2030. Coming by the highlight of the main strategic issues, top priorities, implementation focus for the social capital pillar. Number 3, present the medium-term result framework linking pillars priorities subsector outcomes target and intervention. As we already follow in the first day of the presentation, here is the social capital achievement and the progress. Out of 62 targets, overall we achieved 66.13%, as we have followed yesterday. Main conclusion, overall progress has been substantial, notwithstanding persisting disparities across subsectors. Following by the steady structural improvement are evident in education, health, and social protection. Nevertheless, important gaps remain in the domains of inclusion, particularly disability, youth, and cultural heritage. Key message for 2025-2030, consolidate the institutional progress already attained and expedite the implementation of outstanding reform with the objective of reducing existing disparities and safeguarding sustainability through 2030. Here is the key competence from the capital social I would like to bring you in. The key success. We already delivered a consolidation and institutionalization of social protection system, incorporation contributory and non-contributory schemes, meeting the minimum target women representation, 1-3, and civil service and parliament reflecting progress in gender equality. Positive evolution in the schooling of girls in primary education with a direct impact on inclusion and equity indicators. Strengthening investment in the field of youth and sports, including national leagues, training programs, and international projection initiatives. Following by the strategic valorization of national historical memory throughout the institutional strengthening of the achieved and the museum resistance, as well as the recognition of the role of veterans. The key challenges that we face during the program implementation, the law of the care and adoption of orphans remain unapproved. Access to primary education for children with disabilities remain very limited. The integration of gender-sensitive approaches into school curricula is not yet fully secured. The National Youth Fund and the National Youth Center continue to establish. Following by the insufficient performance is recorded in the culture and heritage sector. What are the recommendations, suggestions, and the points that we put here together for all of us to follow? Firstly, we prioritize in strengthening early childhood education, inclusive education, and adult literacy programs. Following by the strengthened initial and ongoing teacher training, as well as the provision of appropriate and adapted pedagogical resources. Number 3, create and operationalize the remaining public policy instruments, especially the National Youth Fund. Harmonize indicators and strengthen national information and monitoring system, including EMIS, SIMO, and also social data system. The last one is ensuring an alignment of public investment and the budgetary framework with the strategic goals defined up to 2030. Now I will be bringing you into the second segment of exploration for its ministries. The Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Culture. The priority program for this ministry is establish a doctoral school focused on the capacity and the qualification of the teacher in education sector. In order to deliver these program priorities, we have challenges that budget constraints remain as an issue. Lack of specialist human resource, including insufficient infrastructure at the academic facilities. following by the improvement of the higher education data management system in Timor-Leste as the priority of the programs. Indeed, the challenges is internet limitation on the IT equipment, especially for the server, insufficient user capacity, system maintenance, and data security is remain an issue. The program priorities for this ministry included the training in the areas of assessment, curriculum, monitoring, and oversight, auditing, and planning. However, the challenges remain the same with the budget constraints on training, lack of expertise among staff in the specialized areas. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are stepping into the Ministry of Education in social sector. The program priorities is institutional operations and development. The challenges is no proper and standard houses for the teacher appointed in the remote area and the long distance from the houses of community members. At some point, some teachers need and have to spare their lives with other community members in a very big family of the community where they live and they served. One of the other priority programs is the preschooling program. However, in the progress, the challenges we found is increase the number of enrollment in early childhood education, ECE, for children aged 2 to 5 through a proper socialization efforts in local community to encourage parents to send their children to school established in the area remain a constraint. Lack of classroom and playgrounds for the children. Lack of production for the educational materials remains an issue. The number of the school dropouts is increasing due to the various factors faced by the community. Coming up with the elementary school as program priorities. The challenge along the journey, the number of illiteracy students in grade 3 of elementary school is still high. The Ministry of Education's team is conducting a comprehensive assessment of all municipalities to identify the cause of these issues. Following by the training for teachers on the implementation of the curriculum that currently in use is still a constraint. As mentioned before, teacher housing remains a problem that we face at the moment. The material for the program, the printing textbooks continue to be necessary, following by the establishment of toilets, school kitchens, cafeterias, and libraries that is coming up with the infrastructure packets need to be solved. The next priority program, secondary education or technique vocational. The challenge is the curriculum reform requires the support of experts to assist the Ministry of Education with the curriculum reform. Lack of laboratories of Escola Técnico Vocacional remains an issue that we need to address. Ensino recurrente or continuing education. The challenges are require resource for capacity of the new curriculum for all national program or equivalence at the ESG level, and lack of teacher remain a main issue to respond to this priority. I'll bring you to step with me into the stage of Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture. The program priorities are the build of capacity for the youth organization in the field of youth affairs. However, along the journey, the 2026 remains challenge states general funds is insufficient to cover the planned activities in the sub-program of service delivery areas. We still lack of commitment and consistency in the implementation of the National Youth Action Plan by the relevant ministries or the entities. Second program, develop the involvement of the youth and youth civil leadership program. The challenges we faced, monitoring and evaluation system for the implementation of the PANG has not, the National Plan for Youth, has not been standardized. Budget constraint from the relevant sector regarding the implementation of the activities outlined in the National Youth Action Plan, and also a big challenge that we face at the moment. Following by the developed infrastructure facility in the youth sector. The challenges that we all know in 2026, State General Fund remain insufficient to cover the planned activities in the sub-program of service delivery areas. The priorities program following is the develop athletes' performance to compete in the high competition level. The challenges that we face to respond to this program is sport infrastructures, facilities, and equipment in East Timor are truly limited, which hinder athletes and participation from training and showcasing in their talents in each sport due to the annual financial constraint. The priority programs to follow is develop sport infrastructure, outdoor gym, to facilitate the physical sport activities. The challenges that we face here are the limited capacity of human resources among those involved in sport affected the development of sport in Timor-Leste has not yet shown any significant changes. A limited of mechanism or system design to develop and promote young athletes in Timor-Leste remain a constraint. Now we are stepping into the Ministry Social Solidarity and Inclusion. The priority programs is the development, establishment, and operation of 24/7 hotline for victims of domestic violence. However, in order to run this program, the challenges that we found along the pathways is funds constraints, human resource limitation, and also including limited of equipments. Next program priorities is conditional health nutrition subsidy for pregnant women and children. The funds constraint, human resource limitation, and also equipment remain an issue as the challenges for the respective ministry. Now I would like to bring you to the Ministry of Health, as we know that this is very crucial at the moment that we face. Under the non-constitutional government, Ministry of Health would like to extend a deep thank for all of you supported this ministry to keep running under the smooth direction. Thank you to the country of Cuba for a long-standing commitment support this ministry since 2004 under the diplomatic discussion of His Excellency Prime Minister Khairul Shanana Guzmão and President Fidel Castro at that moment in producing health professionals and medical doctors to this beloved country. For your information, through this diplomatic relationship, Timor-Leste has produced 1,200 doctors and medical professionals. Special thanks to Indonesia government for your continued support on capacity building of human resources, development, and also referral patients. We also appreciate your assistance in the professional healthcare staff capacity development on how to provide a quality and professional service to the patients. To the New Zealand and Australia government in capacity building support that assist us to achieve milestones of our health services in Timor-Leste that we acknowledge a few to mention here in this partner forum. We would like to extend our deep thanks to the government of Japan through JICA for all medical equipment support and infrastructure development, especially the fourth floor maternity hospital. We extend our special thanks to Malaysia Ambassador for his remarkable support on capacity development program, patient transport, and the medical equipment. Thank you to the Brunei government for their continued support on health sector in Timor-Leste. We extend special thanks to the Portuguese National Institute Ricardo Jorge for the great support in early detection disease during the pregnancy period. Special thanks to the World Bank and all development partners contributed to the health sector in Timor-Leste. We are not mentioned here today. Last but not least, our gratitude to the WHO, Quaker, UNFPA for continuing support and contribute to development in health sector. As we all know, globally, we are facing a serious non-communicable disease around the world. And we all presented here are required to hand in hand as one to tackle this issue from now on. Now I will bring you into the slide of the program priorities and also the challenge that Ministry of Health is facing at the moment. Mother and child health care. This program is very important in order to reduce the malnutrition, increase the care for pregnancy women and children. However, the challenges that we need to hand in hand for respective partners to consider. At some geographical areas faces the limited access to the health services. Following by the strengthening primary health care program, which is including integrated health program, bringing basic health services to the community in remote areas. The challenges that we face here is less funding for health services as per what we planned. The coming program priorities is non-communicable disease control, such as tuberculosis, HIV, malaria, and lepra. The challenges that we found in implementation program during the period, limited number access to the TB and HIV treatment. We consider that it's still very low. Some of the patients is not cooperate for the viral load. Following by the non-communicable disease control, like diabetes, hypertension, and mental health. Other program priorities is improve healthcare infrastructures, construction of new hospital, rehabilitation of health centers, ICU capacity, and the emergency department is increasing. Next priorities is nutrition and vulnerable health, which includes support the pregnant women, support breastfeeding mothers, and vulnerable children. The challenges that we found along the pathways is the lack of knowledge of the respective mother on breastfeeding. Coming up with the priorities program, inclusive healthcare. Services for people with disabilities remain a priority. Accessibility to the healthcare facilities. The challenge is that respective partners to consider in supporting the ministry is limited resources, including human resource and medical equipment. That at the moment, Ministry of Health is targeting 300 doctors and nurses specialists for the next 5 years. Limited number of psychologists. Limited number of forensic medical specialists. And also the limited budgets to cover all municipalities, including hospitals at some areas. Respective partners and every one of us standing here today, I will bring you into the conclusion of this presentation that specify what are the needs that our partners need to come along to consider and discuss with our social affairs sectors. In the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Culture, we would like you to stand one in hand to discuss in order to establish a doctoral school focused on the capacity and the qualification of the teacher or lecturers at the university. following by the improvement of the higher education data management system in Timor-Leste as one of the priorities. Formation in the area of evaluation, curriculum monitoring, and inspections. In the Ministry of Education, we would like to have a support in the curriculum reform from elementary education grade number 3. Development of national curriculum for secondary education, school infrastructures, and teacher housing as a program priorities that we need to bring up. Ensuring the access to the preschool, including preparation for school through the intensive program. For the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Arts and Culture, support the youth in the municipal level where respective partners operated at all levels. Support the construction of the multifunction center in the municipality with facilities. Following by the sport infrastructures, facilities and equipment in Timor-Leste are truly limited, making it difficult for practitioners and athletes to train and showcase their talents in each sport. Following by the capacity of human resources involved in sport are truly limited. And as the result, the development of sport in Timor-Leste has not shown significant progress. For the Ministry of Social Solidarity and Inclusion, we require a technical support focused on the human resource of public attendance, capacity building in relevant various areas, subsidize progress in the development of the school registration system, support for Umakain, vulnerable groups were identified, support conditional health, nutrition subsidy for pregnant women and children. In Ministry of Health, we request the assistance from the development partners to continue of capacity building for the health professional to increase the quality of the services. Partners are required to support the medical and non-medical equipments, strengthen the standardized laboratory service, support mother and child program to reduce malnutrition, increase the service for pregnant women and children, strengthening primary health care, PHT, and integrated health program. Support the communicable disease program implementation, tuberculosis, HIV, malaria, and lepra. Support the non-communicable disease program, diabetes, hypertension, mental health. Support for improving healthcare infrastructures, construction of new hospital, renovation of health center, expansion of ICU and emergency services. We also require support the inclusive healthcare services for people with disabilities, accessibility to the healthcare facilities program. Partner also required to support the periodic specialist health services from external hospital to work in Timor-Leste. As you know, that we have previously worked with RACS and ETHF. I would like to bring you to the achievement of Ministry of Health that we have along the pathways. We have achieved public health, measles and rubella, lymphatic filariasis, and also malaria. Thank you for the stage. This is the end of presentation, and I give the stage back to the MC.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as you have announced before that after the presentation we will have a lunch break. However, I'm feeling that many of us have been feeling tired after sitting for a while. Therefore, we have a team of beautiful and energetic leaders from the Ministry of Health to lead us in a little bit of an exercise before we walk to the cafeteria and the lunch area. However, before that, we will have His Excellency Minister saying a closing message. Then we will have the exercise before lunch. Thank you.
Minister, Tebes, huh? Yes. You all agree? Yes. Yes, please. How?
For the prevention non-communicable disease, let us move a bit the body. Thank you.
So for the team from the Ministry of Health, the floor is yours. Please lead us. I was also requested to ask every one of you to please stand.
Oh. How?
Ouvintes no telespectadores Radio Televisão Timor-Leste, iremos que a sessão, que a apresentação liga vai here desenvolvimento do setor social ninian, a foi indidane, se continua e a sessão lorocraik ninian, continua o husu no hatan. Também malu ouvintes no telespectadores ira, da daunian se tabot ira acompanha e a Crown Televisão, que até ia sala reunião, horas nadão, participantes ira, hal exercício, tamba discussão na beca halau ia parte der, horas nadão, quase tempo, ka horas ituang, também sugestão ministra Saudi, participantes ira halau exercício, além de né foi de né continua o almoço, no mosia parte lo craig, se continua o russo no hatan liga vai a apresentação na beca ita foi uma que acompanha Liuba. E a conclusão geral na beca ita voltou acompanha que a progresso nos desafios e a setor sabe ser importante e a Timor-Leste, mas que não é governo lihusi ministério relevante sira continua a ser um commitmento ida que pode resolver desafios na beca resista e a setor importante sira e a Timor-Leste to tinan região rua tolo nulo tuir plano estratégico de desenvolvimento nacional linian ahu si tinan região rua sanulo resingida to tinan região rua tolo nulo e falta tinan hata tu completa plano estratégico de desenvolvimento ninian também o governo e tinan se resto né se comprometido a tu continua melhora setor sirneve que importante a nessa saúde educação agricultura infraestrutura no setor importante sercelo também malu ouvintes no telespectadores sira la cleutanita se intervalo e foi de almoço a mim se continua a transmissão direta e a canal rádio no televisão Timor-Leste. Nesse então pode ser o senador que acompanha e a salão reunião que auditorium que irá lançar no Guzmão Ministério de Finanças e a Itara Clarandili e a exercício ira nebe que halau se parte relevante ira pode não é bele normaliza que a circulação rang e assim tuir sugestão nebe que se parte saúde indiana. Dia ouvintes no telespectadores rádio no televisão Timor-Leste ao Lorita Botira vai estúdio central onde acompanha programa Cielo do Irmai. Loron dia.